Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to another video. It's Friday evening here in the UK. Just got to the end of another day of just stuff, work and crap. So thought I'd do a quick vinyl finds video. We're listening to a record that I have shown already, but I totally forgot to say anything about it when I showed it a couple of weeks ago. This is the Gun Club and Miami, and after I'd made the video, I was just editing it and watching it back, and then I thought, oh right, I didn't actually say anything about it at all. I just assumed that people would know about it, but maybe not necessarily so. So the Gun Club were a kind of cowpunk psychobilly band from Los Angeles. They formed in 1979, and I think they went on until about 1996. The main guy, Jason Lee Pierce, they were very kind of rockabilly, punked up rockabilly kind of sound, quite intense on the guitars, quite trashy sounding, quite atmospheric, stripped down, to the bone. Apparently, Jason Lee Pierce, he was the president of Blondie's fan club or something like that, and Chris Stein was involved in this album. I think he produced it, and Debbie Harry sings background vocals on 7 of the songs. This is maybe the second or third album. The most famous of their albums is this one, which I've got on CD. This is The Fire of Love, and not sure which I prefer so far. I mean, I know this one much better, but this one is definitely very good. I've given it a couple of spins already. Played it very loud the other night, and it hit all the right spots. So yeah, I was happy with that. So apologies for having shown it and said nothing about it. I always like to say at least something about something, even if what I say is totally wrong. So anyway, so this video is going to be part 2 of buying Tony's records. Now, if you sort of think back, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks or so, maybe a little bit longer, you will recall, those of you with long-term memories, that I went to the house of a man called Tony, and the reason for that is there was an advert on a shop notice board that a friend told me about, and it was from this guy Tony saying he had records to sell. There was absolutely no information about the records at all, so I phoned him up, got a couple of names off him, got some ideas of prices, thought it would be worth popping round to see what he's got. Went round there, bought a load of records, and then didn't go around there again for quite a while. And then Tony got in touch with me, again out of the blue. He texted me to say he'd got another box of stuff together, would I like to go around and have another look. So just to explain, Tony is a record collector. He's been collecting records all his life. He's probably in his, I would estimate, in his 60s. He does a lot of work for the local charity shop that I go to. I see him in there as well. And he's got a room upstairs in this house with kind of floor to ceiling on 2 sides of records, and I think he's got a lot of good stuff there. I haven't dug through to see exactly what there is, but what he does is he's kind of, the impression I get is that he's wanting to downscale a bit. He's talked of doing car boot sales, and he takes records off the shelf and he puts them in these boxes, and they're kind of, these boxes are to go. And so when I go around to his house, it's those boxes that I look through. I don't look along the shelves, I kind of look in the boxes. There are some records in there that are a little bit more kind of bog standard, things that I wouldn't particularly bother with, but a fair few good things as well. So let me show you the second instalment of my purchasing of Tony's records. I actually got a stack of quite nice things, so I'll just run you through and show you what I got. So the first thing that I kind of grabbed out of his box was a copy of Get Happy by Elvis Costello, which was one of the early Costello albums I was still lacking. This one is in good condition. It's quite funny. I never realised that that this white wear thing, what's it called, ringwear, was actually, it's part of the design. It's kind of meant to look like a crappy old sleeve, So that's quite good fun. This album was the one that they recorded when Elvis decided he wanted to go in a more kind of R&B direction. So he kind of went and bought loads of Motown and Stax singles and spent all weekend rearranging his latest batch of songs in order to sound more like kind of black soul kind of thing, which, you know, I mean, the Attractions were an incredibly versatile band. They knew how to run with that kind of approach. It's a great album. I think it's got 20 songs on it, and there's a kind of unusual thing where on the back the songs are listed side 1 and side 2, but but that's the wrong way round. When you actually put the record on, that's not side 1, that's side 2, and that's not side 2, that's side 1. Very confusing. I've got absolutely no idea why they did that, but they did. Anyway, so that is Costello and the Attractions. It was their 4th album, actually, and yeah, it was commercially successful, charted at number 11 in the US and number 2 in the UK. There we go. So yeah, I was delighted to pick that up, in great condition. All Tony's records are in great shape. They don't need a lot of cleaning. They sound good. I haven't had one yet that had any undue kind of, you know, crackle. So there was that one. Next, totally delighted to pick up a copy of Nancy and Lee. This has been on my wants list for some time. Check out Tommy Burton's video on Lee Hazelwood, where he talks about this record, no doubt with a greater degree of authority than I can muster. And this is a fantastic album. The first time I listened to it, I had it on as kind of background, and I wasn't that impressed. And then I played it again and actually sat and listened to it, and it's great. Lee Hazelwood's voice sort of reminds me of Leonard Cohen. It's got that kind of deep, slightly morose quality to it. Of course, Nancy is total seductress all the way. Great songs, many of them written by Lee Hazelwood himself. There's the label. And, you know, this record is not a very common record. You don't see it in the wild ever here in the UK. It's mono. Marveloso. Right, next. This is an album, again, which has been on my want list for a while. This is Van Morrison, It's Too Late to Stop Now. Live album from 1973, which I've long heard good things about. I'm reasonably new to Van Morrison, been buying his records for maybe 18 months to 2 years, and I'd heard segments of this record in different contexts, and it's a fantastic album. It's got stuff on here from St Dominic's Preview, there's tracks from Moondance, there's stuff from Veed and Fleece, I think. 1974, live double album recorded at the Troubadour in Los Angeles, California, the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium and the Rainbow in London, so it goes across several venues. During Morrison's 3-month tour with his 11-piece band, the Caledonia Soul Orchestra, frequently named as one of the best live albums ever, and I can certainly vouch for that. It's magnificent, just on Warner's. So, and in good condition. I think the ringwire this time is genuine, but never mind. Yeah, a bit of live Van, can't go wrong with that. Okay, so this one, condition wise, is probably, you know, not marvellous. There's some tape along the top, it's fairly grubby, and the record, you know, you've got a bit of bacon and eggs going on, but you know what, I don't mind. I do not mind a bit of crackle, because this is an OG, a Stax, Otis and Carla. It's Carla Thomas's 4th album, Otis Redding's 6th and final studio album before his death on December the 10th, 1967. And I think the concept of it was borrowed from the duet album which Marvin Gaye had done with Tammy Terrell. So it's kind of classic soul tunes. There's stuff by Cropper and Floyd, that's Eddie Floyd and Steve Cropper. Knock on Wood. There's Tramp, which is an absolutely classic duet between the two of them. I'm sure you'll have heard that. There's Bring It On Home to Me by Sam Cooke. It Takes Two by William Stevenson. Just a great album to have. I posted it on Facebook earlier today. I was just grooving away to it in the living room and enjoying it. So yeah, even though it's a bit crackly, I figured, you know, when a record is of that vintage, you're going to get some crackle. So this one is Otis Redding in Europe. Respect, I Can't Turn You Loose, I've Been Loving You Too Long, My Girl, magnificent track listing. There's a version of Day Tripper, Try a Little Tenderness. This one is a live album. It was his first live album, the only live album released during his lifetime, issued exactly 5 months before his death on December the 10th, 1967. It was recorded during the Stax Vault tour of Europe, and Redding is backed by his usual boys, Booker T and the MGs, so Al Jackson Jr. on drums, and Steve Cropper on guitar, Booker T on keyboards, Douglas Dunn on... not Douglas Dunn, he was a poet. The name escapes me. The bass player, Donald Duck. It's not going to come. A mixture of Donald Duck and Douglas Dunn, the English poet, is the name of the bass player from Booker T and the MGs. Anyway, Otis Redding, live in Europe, another fantastic pickup from Tony. Last. Okay, and the last one I grabbed, just wanted to get this because kind of trying to sort of collect Marvin a little bit. This was his final album. He released 17 albums during his life, and I thought I was doing well because I had 3, you know. Midnight Love from 1982, Midnight Lady, Sexual Healing, you know, just smooth as silk. Absolutely wonderful sounds, just absolutely love this record, love Marvin. I've said it before, I think he's probably my favourite male singer of all time. 17th and final studio album, and following his exit from Motown actually, so that's why it's not on Motown. The final album to be released before his death, so there's a bit of a death theme coming through in tonight's video. The disc was certified triple platinum in the United States, selling well over 6 million copies worldwide. It was nominated for an 84 Grammy for Best Male R&B Vocal, etc, etc. So I was delighted with that one as well. I just, you know, it wasn't many records, but I think the ones I got were good. They were good prices, they were all in good condition. So I left a happy bunny, and no doubt I'll be returning to Tony for more of his offcuts. So stay tuned for that. Thanks to all subscribers, old and new, and I will see you all soon. Take care. Bye bye.